Welcome to the March the 7th, 2022 School Board meeting of the Madison County School Board. The school board meeting is officially called to order. At this time, would everyone please stand for a moment of silence in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome to tonight's meeting. The school board meeting is officially called to order. The school board meeting is an advertised meeting held in the public, not a public meeting. We have a set advertised agenda that will be followed. Anyone wishing to address the school board may do so during the public input section of the meeting. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. The sign-in sheet to speak during public input is on the table to the left as you enter the boardroom. Please sign in if you wish to speak. Our school board minutes this evening are being recorded by Ms. Bishop, confidential secretary and secretary to the superintendent. Board members present include Ms. Williamson, Mr. Carroll, Ms. Gibson, and Ms. Bell, and myself, Bart Alford. Our attorney is present, Mr. Reeves, and the superintendent, Ms. Joseph. At this time, I welcome each of you to the meeting. On the agenda, I'm going to amend the agenda to change 2.1 to 5.7 under individual consent items, to amend 2.2 to change it to 5.8 under individual consent items. So 2.1 will be changed to 5.7, and that will be the articulation agreement with FAMU, Ms. Howard. And 2.2 will be changed to 5.8, and that will be the supplemental job description for the head football coach at Madison County High School. Are there any questions concerning the amendments and changes? Okay, if there's no questions at this time, comments from the public, 3.1, there's none. Okay, under the consent items, 4.1 would be the minutes from the 2016-22 workshop, the 2017-2022 workshop, and the 2022-2022 regular meeting. That's 4.1. 4.2 is a dual enrollment agreement with North Florida College for the 2022-2023 school year. 4.3 is the CRRSA ESSER 2 academic acceleration amendment, Ms. Howard. 4.4 is the ARP IDEA K through 12 Part B, the K through 12 American Rescue Plan supplement funds, and that is for $126,281. 4.5 is the ARP IDEA Pre-K American Rescue Plan Supplemental Fund, and that is for $8,268. Those are the items for individual consent. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
I move to approve the consent agenda items.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion? If there is no discussion, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Ms. Williamson. All those in favor, show of hand, please, for approval. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the consent items. 5.0, items for individual consideration. 5.1, the out-of-district field trip. The Madison County High School Science Fair participant and winners will be attending Lakeland, Florida, March 29th through April the 1st, 2022. There's 14 students and 7 chaperones attending. The FCCLA will be attending the state convention March the 25th through March the 27th in Orlando, Florida. 2 students will be attending and 2 chaperones. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-district field trips?
Made the motion to approve the out-of-district field trips.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Is there any discussion?
The one that's going to the science fair, how they going?
They're going on 2 vans and it's actually 11 students.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I'd like to just commend Ms. Phillips again for all her hard work. And without the teacher, it wouldn't happen.
Right, that's a lot of students.
That's a lot of
Congratulations to them and going for that honor to represent the school and themselves. Okay, if there's no more discussion, all those in favor of the out-of-district field trips, show of hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the out-of-district field trips. 5.2, personnel changes, Mr. Killingsworth.
Good evening. Today I have one non-instructional that we would like to recommend, and then you can see the 5 that will either be resigning or retirement that are on the form. And then we have one that's a substitute that we're asking that you add to the personnel.
Is there a motion to approve the personnel changes?
I move to approve the personnel changes.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor of the personnel changes, show of hand for approval. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of personnel changes. Okay, 5.3. 5.3, policy 6610, the internal accounts, the public hearing. Ms. Rainick and Mr. Killingsworth.
Basically, the short version on that one is in that first section where it says 6610 in the part that's underlined, due to findings by the auditor and by recommendation from Mr. Cochran, that be the verbiage that we should use going in that area. That's basically all we're doing there. Is that one particular paragraph.
Is this from Neola? Neola said this.
Well, this is from Richard Cochran, the Commissioner of Education, based on our findings that...
From the Auditor General?
Correct. From our, to be in compliance.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion to open it for public hearing?
I'll make the motion to open the policy 6610 for public hearing.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, at this time it's open for public hearing. I don't know that the public, should I read it?
Well, can you give us a brief description of it?
I could read it if
Or
you like.
Okay.
Schools' internal funds are those funds received on behalf of students in connection with school student activities and class and club activities. The board's intent is that these funds be kept separate from the budgetary accounts of the school or district and are to be used solely for the benefit of the school and students where the funds were raised. School or district personnel involved in these activities should be to facilitate the accomplishment of the activities for the benefit of the students. The policies that follow are to ensure these custodial funds are properly safeguarded and accounted for on behalf of the students and the parents. And then it goes on to say all of our rules concerning money and funds.
Yes, sir, that's the only.
But that's what's been added. Does anyone in the public would like to make any comments concerning the addition? I guess there's no comments, so at this time I'll close the public hearing. And we will vote on all those in favor of policy 6610 with the changes. Is there a motion to approve the changes?
I move to approve the changes.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Is there any discussion?
I think that it's good to spell it out, what needs to be done and the proper procedures, and so everyone knows, and hopefully everyone will know what to do.
It truly is spelled out,
Yeah,
with all the
it's-
different steps. Okay, so it's been properly moved and seconded. No more discussion. All those in favor, show a hand for approval of the policy. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of policy 6610 concerning internal accounts within the district. Okay, item 5.4, job description concerning the reading tutor.
Yes, sir, this position is one that we would like to put before you and then advertise with your blessing for basically this summer, next school year, and the following summer. That will be funded out of ESSER funds. It breaks down basically tutoring for K-3 can be, students, college kids, adults, and, what they would be paid, or if they want to do it towards a scholarship, depending upon which way they wanted to go about that. It gives them a little bit of flexibility, but it kind of outlines what goes on with that. And at the conclusion of the next year, that summer, then it will go away.
Yeah. Now, I've read this, or you mean they were going to be tutoring during the summer?
Yes.
Just the third graders, or just, yeah?
Up in that area, yes. Of course, we've got to find the tutors to be able to do that, but providing we're able to find that.
Only the summer?
Summer, during the year,
They
regular school
start-
year, and then
they'll be
the
starting
following
this summer.
summer.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And it outlines that, 2 days during the regular year, 4 hours during the summer. 4 hours a day, excuse me. And then there's a max of so many hours per week.
Okay, is there a motion for the approval of the job description for the tutor or reading tutors?
I'll make the motion to approve the reading tutor job description.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Is there any further discussion? If there's no discussion, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor of the job description for the tutor, show a hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the job description.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, 5.5, sixth grade reconfiguration. Ms. Joseph, or we could just do for the vote.
Okay, basically, this is what we have been talking about. We've had community meetings at all sites, and we've discussed and we've workshopped it, and now it's time for us to vote.
Okay, at this time, is there a motion is there a motion for the 6th grade returning to the outlying schools, Lee, Pinetta, and Greenville?
I move to approve the 6th grade reconfiguration.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion?
I just haven't, what's gonna happen when we say, and then we gon', those kids that wanna play athletics, go to the central school. All right, Greenville got 17 kids. If 8 of them go to the central school, that'll leave 9 kids. So, we're gonna have a class with 9 kids?
Schools are staffed based on population, and she'll have enough teachers to support the number of students she has.
This is another thing, we're not gonna have 5th and 6th grade in the same classroom.
I can't promise you that.
See,
It's
that-
how
I
the
don't-
teacher, how the principal decide to configure her school.
So as of right now, the 6th graders can play sports at the central school.
Yes, ma'am.
I just, if it came down to that, I'd have a hard time with that. It's tough enough to teach one class, most less 2 in the same room. That's my opinion.
Okay. Any other comments, concerns? No other comments or concerns? No other comments?
So what you're saying that if there's only 9 kids in the 6th grade, they still can have, they can have 5th and 6th in the same class if they don't have enough teachers to cover?
That choice is left to the principal. I can't tell you exactly how they're gonna configure their classes. For example, Greenville has a class with 10 students in it right now.
Yes, ma'am.
So it depends on how the principal configures their classes. And I hope I'm answering you. Because I'm not gonna go over there and say, you need to configure your classes like this. But she understands what she has, he has the resources, and he understands what he's dealing with in the requirements.
So if we pull them back, and she has, I'll say, 5 or 6 6th graders, whatever she does with the 6th graders is how she
How
deal
the
with
principal decides to address the concern. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions?
I think we've discussed it thoroughly. That's,
Okay.
we've been.
Well, we have a motion on the table by Ms. Gibson, a second by Ms. Williamson, for the 6th graders to return to Lee, Pinetta, and Greenville. All those in favor, show a hand. All those opposed? 3-2, Ms. Bishop, for approval.
And just, and for clarification, that is beginning fall of 2022.
Right.
Right? And there may be forms and things that have to be done by staff, and so you're directing staff to go ahead and start that process.
Yes, sir. Okay, item 6.1, I'm sorry.
5.6.
Item 5.6, permission to advertise the student progression plan. Ms. Hill?
What you should have in your documents file on board docs is the student progression plan that we are proposing to finish out this year. With the high school changing the number of credits needed, or changing the number of periods in a day, we had to change the number of credits needed for graduation. We also have been having discussions about the number of students who have multiple retentions by the time they get to 3rd grade, and so we address that. And so everything that we changed, you will find in red. Any questions?
Will the
I
high,
have
oh,
You
Go
can
ahead.
go ahead, Ms. Gibson.
I was going to say, will the high school continue to have the 7 periods
Well, that's to finish out this year.
for this year? Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, for this year. I mean, next year.
As far as I know.
Okay.
They have not requested to do anything different.
I had a question, and I may be overlooking it, with coming about with all students having the monitoring through whatever way we monitor through, even K through 1 and 2. Do you see us going with the progression? Back in the day, we did have certain cut scores that drove promotion. And
Right.
I'm not seeing them. I mean, maybe I'm overlooking them, like percentages.
No, we do not have a percentage that the students have to get to. Ours is based on the grading system. What we do have is an exemption to retention if a student maybe doesn't pass the class, but they score, where they should on the adopted assessment, which at this time is iReady, then the principal could use that as exemption to retention.
But all of our promotion is solely based on grades in class.
Yes.
Do you think that's going to change based upon with the new accountability coming about?
I have not heard anything
I
from
mean,
the,
that would change based upon the board. The board would drive that based
Right.
upon what we chose to put it at. And I don't know that concerning, is this for next year or just for the remainder of this year?
the remainder of this year.
But next year will be a whole nother,
Next year, after we get the information from the state, they send out a document with changes that we need to make to the student progression plan. Then I can bring it back to you with those changes, because we kind of know what that assessment's going to be like, but only a little bit, the only part that the state has shared. So we haven't seen it. I don't even know that the state has seen the whole thing. I know that they had, last week, they announced, I think, the company that they were going to go with. But as far as exactly what it looks like, we don't know.
I'm just one, but I would like for some type of, for the fall, scores be brought to where it's more empirical, where it's not subjective, and just like we used to do back 10, 15 years ago, where there was a certain percentile. If everyone is using already, then we should use those scores to help drive. I mean, we're supposed to be using it to drive instruction, and I would think that would be an easy way to look at, to see, I mean, and we could set it at what we need to set it at, but knowing that some kids could have grades that really doesn't warrant them. They could have good grades and bad already scores is what I'm trying to.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a provision in the law that does not allow you to do that. You cannot
what?
use a single test to determine promotion.
But what are we doing if they have passing grades and then they're in less than the 10th percentile in already?
Well, typically, those students don't have passing grades. And we've been trying to monitor that very closely. Lots of times, those are the students who have already had a retention. Our district has pretty high retention rates. And so we would really need to carefully study making the test score part of the promotion criteria. But I know that the state does not want us using just a test score for promotion criteria. There are some students that don't test well. There are different factors that you have to take into consideration
But the already is, I mean, I realize the one test, but that's done over 3 different times. So they would have 3 opportunities to.
It's still one test.
It is one test, but again, I think we need to come up with something else besides just grades.
Some students
Okay.
have test anxiety. So
Well, and it's definitely something we can talk about.
What were we using back 10 years ago when we had scores?
When it was FCAT,
But what were we using in the younger grades? Because we were doing something with them. The Stanford.
Yeah, the Stanford 10.
So that would have been one test, wouldn't it?
that law was just passed a couple of years ago. I'll find that for you and send it to you.
I want to look around and see what other districts are doing to compare.
Okay. I don't know of any district that is using just a test score. I know you get 3 opportunities, but it's still one test.
It should be a collaboration, but again, I just do not want students who are doing poorly in class and, or doing well in class and not doing well on the already and come up and they're promoted and can't read.
Right. Well, and I will tell you, I mean, next year is going to look drastically different with the state going to a pre-K to 8 statewide assessment. That means that all the way down to pre-K, students are going to be measured 3 times during the year by a state assessment. And, you know, what we've had in the past was it started in 3rd grade, it went through high school, and it was 1 time a year. The districts all had our regular progress monitoring. But next year, it is state monitoring, and they'll do a baseline, a mid-year, and an end-of-year pre-K through 8th grade. And that's going to, I think we really have to see what that's going to look like before we really discuss retentions being tied to it, because there are so many unknowns. But we can definitely, I will find out for you what other districts are doing and get that information to you.
Well, I mean, I think in many ways that's going to be better in that it's going to drive instruction where you're going to have an idea of what they're not getting before the FSA comes.
Absolutely.
And then it's just one test and you've worked the whole year on something and you see deficiencies.
do they still do portfolios like?
We do portfolios in 3rd grade because that can be used as for a student who did not score high enough on the FSA. If they have a portfolio that demonstrates that they have mastered the standards, then we can use that portfolio. The state tells us what has to go in it. They've given us the passages that have to go in it, the questions that go with each passage. So it's basically the state's criteria. Districts don't get to choose their own passages or questions. It is provided for us, and we have to use that to document the students have met the standards.
Only for 3rd grade?
Only for 3rd grade.
Let me ask you, I'm looking at this iReady that you handed me earlier today, and I'm sure the teachers probably have something for each individual child. I mean, is that how they determine how they're going to group them, or,
Yes, ma'am.
In other words, they're doing something with
Yes, ma'am. They determine their groupings. Any student who is a Tier 3, which would be 2 or more years behind, those students have to have at least 45 minutes a day of small group instruction from 1 to 4 kids.
Right.
And it has to be the 45 minutes.
Now, that's coming from iReady, that information?
Yes, ma'am.
That's where they're getting it from?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And now, if they're if they had an FSA score last year, they were, or this year in 4th or 5th grade, then we have to use their iReady in conjunction with their FSA score. But I did try to provide you with the actual documents that I kind of went over a couple weeks ago, so that you could see school by school, the percentages there in the different levels.
Which, is this the third assessment or second?
That, we only do 3 assessments. That is the mid-year assessment. I also gave you a copy of our assessment calendar, and if you flip over to the second page, you will see that that started in November. We have the window open for usually about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and the teachers just have to test the students within that window. Our next iReady testing period will be in April, right after the first of the month of April.
Okay, is there a motion to, for permission to advertise the student progression plan?
I move to advertise the student progression.
It's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any further discussion? All those in favor of to advertise the student progression plan, please show a hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval to advertise the student progression plan. 5.7, articulation agreement with FAMU.
Okay, Mr. Chair, what you have before you is an articulation agreement with the Ag Department out of Florida A&M University. It gives the students the right to take related online courses which could lead to further studies in the field of ag at FAMU. And basically what it does is expand their agricultural course offerings. And as of right now, after we sign this agreement, there will be 4 classes that the students could take online. And this articulation agreement will benefit James Madison as well as Madison County High.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the articulation agreement with FAMU?
I'll make the motion to approve the articulation agreement with FAMU.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? There's no discussion. It's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson and seconded by Ms. Bell. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the articulation agreement. 5.8, supplemental job description, head football coach, athletic director.
Okay, Mr. Chair, Coach Cole has resigned and it's time to fill that position. And we posted this, we're looking for a secondary high school teacher. And at this time, Mr. Killsworth is going to explain the part about athletic director, head football coach. But we are looking for this basic job description is for a teacher.
Good evening. On this particular one, we put a secondary high school teacher for the fact that the odds are 95%, yes, it will be a PE certification that applies. However, if you have an English, math, or science, or history that actually applied, are you going to want to turn him away, or whoever that person is? Okay, so that's what that part is. The bachelor's degree, of course, is standard. I'm assuming based on what y'all have said, the heartburn or the problem is with the 5 years of coaching and experience.
Why do we provide
Okay,
you?
here is why. And at the end of the day, if y'all don't want it, we'll sure snatch it off there, okay? And if you don't want it, I apologize that we put it on there. However, let me give you the reasoning as to why. Our program, originally, when we started, there were 3 coaches over this course of time that we've won state championships with, okay? The first one that we hired There was no state championship. That was your brother-in-law.
Randy had a state championship.
When we hired him.
When we hired him,
got the first
he
one.
wasn't. He did get the first. You're absolutely correct. He was in basically through the pool coming up, and he had incredible experience with him when he got there. He was, for lack of better words, groomed in that area. Okay, that's the first one. Second one is actually Mr. Carroll. Mr. Carroll, too, had come through the system like that. Okay, the third one was Coach Coe, which had came through under Coach Carroll. I actually was the one that hired him. Mr. Roberts, I think, was the one that hired you, Mr. Carroll, and Miss Campbell hired Randy. So that was where we went with that. However, with what has left, when Coach Coe left, and then two of the other ones that are right there that's with him, we don't have that lineage right now. Now, if you want to, we pull that, and you start with no experience or whatever, that's fine. We'll do that. And I'll apologize if I overstepped my bounds there. However, the intent was for us to try and find a quality coach with a proven record. Typically 5 years will give them a chance to prove what they've been done. We are not a program that is going 1-9, okay? Because if we were going 1-9, we probably would have to beg people to take the job, okay? But you've won multiple state with 3 different coaches. We will have a pool of people that you should have a quality crew to pick from so that we can keep our program where it is, and we want to go from there forward with any job that we get or any position that we try to fill. So if you wish for me to remove that, I will. Not a problem. And I am
I'm not
sorry
sure
if that has bothered y'all.
That we're not tunneling ourselves. If you have people out there who have 5 years head coaching experience in a successful program, why were they leaving to come here? You're not going to have just buku-oodles of people to do that.
We've had 3 people send resumes already, and it's not even public.
That are outside the district.
My issue is, I understand what you're talking about, but my issue is, like, I think I would rather, it say preferred, like you got down here with the endorsement, coaching endorsement preferred.
Yes, sir.
I would rather, if we had to have the 5 years on there, it say preferred 5 years and not have to have 5 years. You see what I'm saying?
If that is y'all's liking, then that's what it'll be.
I just think that, that, hey, you never know.
I understand.
I got lucky. There was a hiring freeze, so there wasn't nobody up but me. I was the only one left. So I got lucky.
I agree with Mr. Carroll. I would like to change that to preferred.
And is that preferred on just the 5 years or having been a head coach before also?
I would just say a head coaching 5 years preferred, if that's what you, I'm all for striking it all and just say.
It's up to the board.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to this is a discussion we need to have. It's up to us. I mean, the board is the one that sets policies, not
Well,
not
my
staff.
take is no matter who applies, we want to hire the most qualified, best person for the job.
Right.
Just because it doesn't limit a lot of people from being able to apply doesn't mean that you have to settle for not the top person.
That is correct. Some other things that we tried to take in mind is when you have a vacancy such as that, it is usually better, correct me if I'm wrong, if we are able to, for lack of better words, backfill relatively quick so that you keep some stability and that you can move forward with your program.
Right. That- that's important.
If we basically just, and forgive me for,
Please stop talking in the audience. No, you may go.
if we water it down a lot, then you open yourself up to have a huge amount of pool to pick from. When you have that pool, then are you saying from that, then we're going to need to interview all of them? Or are there some criteria that y'all would like to give me so that we can weed out some, so to speak, because those interviews are going to take a while. You need to keep the same people on those teams consistently, because if not, then you open yourself up for some legal problems. And like I said, we're wanting to try to wrap this up as quick as possible, however, making sure we have the best candidate as possible.
Right. Now, I'm not a big, other than sponsoring, football sponsor.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you take this 5-year thing away, evidently a person's going to be, he's going to be in a program someplace. In other words, he will be an assistant coach someplace. He may
Not
not have
necessarily,
been,
but could.
Not necessarily, but in other words, it could have been a successful school where they're getting all kinds of state championships, and he just decides he wants to be the coach, and he knows how to do it. And so that's why I'm not sure if this is a necessity, saying, we even hire a principal who doesn't have 5 years' experience. So, here we are with the coach, so I don't know.
Well, there
Whichever
is a way
y'all desire, I will do
There is a way
it.
to screen the applicants once, if you have 100 people apply,
We
you
would
could
love to
screen
have
down,
some
can't you?
coaching experience.
You
I can, but what criteria do you want for me to be fair?
If all of them qualified and meet what we advertise, we do interview them all. But that's his question, can we have a pre-screening after we get all these applications in? If we get 50 applications in, because basically if we change this to preferred, any blow Joe can't advertise, can apply for this job. And his question is, can we have a pre-screening and not interview everyone?
I would think you would need a pre-screening, and that's me now.
That's his question.
I would think you need a pre-screening.
And could we say that you would need some coaching experience, that you had been some kind of coach before you could apply? That you didn't just somebody off the street that thinks they might want to become a
Surely
coach?
somebody off the street wouldn't.
Well, you
Oh,
never
yeah, they
know.
will.
Listen, I had one apply that said he won in every Madden game he ever played in. So when I was in Georgia. So,
But
but we didn't interview him now.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, so what you got is a job description. The job description,
Oh.
and the way we're set up, obviously, as a school district, the superintendent recommends you all approve the person that she recommends unless you have cause. So when you're talking about a job description like this, what you're actually doing is you're putting limits on what the superintendent, the pool the superintendent can interview. Let's say the superintendent gets a pool, you take this out, and she gets a pool of 500 people that apply. How she vets those and all that is up to the superintendent. And then ultimately, she's going to recommend to you all someone, and that person's going to have to be approved by you unless you have cause. So I think my recommendation would be to take the superintendent's recommendation of what she wants in a job description, because she's the one that's going to have to go through all of that and figure out who would be the most qualified one to recommend back to you all. And the board really doesn't have a lot to say about that. You have to decide whether or not you have just cause to reject the nominee she gives you. You don't have the ability to say, well, I wish you'd pick number 3 instead of number 4. So I think this is one of those times that I believe that my advice would be to defer to the superintendent on how she wants to handle that.
So you're saying to leave the 5 years of head coaching experience?
Well, is that your?
I think we can go, I really don't mind, since we've had so much conversation within the community, And we do try to work with our community, and if you want, we can put that word in there, preferred, and continue to advertise, but we've got to get this taken care of soon. And we're putting so many restrictions on this, it'll be the middle of May before we get a coach if we don't get this advertised.
That's one less thing that they have to worry about, the 5 years then. In other words, it's preferred. They
If we
may
just
have it,
put
they may
preferred
not.
and just carry on and let us finish the process.
So if we vote on it tonight, then they can start advertising tomorrow in the public.
Yes. And we do a 3-day internal advertisement, because if we change it, we can't, the prior 3 days we've used, they can't count it. Can they count it 3 days?
If you change the description, you can
You
re-advertise.
have to start all over again. And so it'd be that's about 10 days total.
Will it be 8, 3, and then 5?
Okay, so it's,
The 20th, it would be ready to be.
okay.
So I think if you're wanting to go with the superintendent's recommendation, I think on that second bullet point, you delete applicants must also have, and then you start it with 5 years of head coaching experience with a proven track record preferred, period. If that's what you're trying to do.
Is there a motion to state that?
Is that what you want, Ms. Joseph? I mean, if that's
I
what.
can live with that.
You can live with that.
I wanted what I first put out, but I can live with the change.
Well, I mean, you superintendent, you tell us. I mean,
I can live with the suggested change.
okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the suggested change of preferred?
I move to make the change. To
To-
prefer,
To include preferred?
yes,
Proven track record preferred?
yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion?
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Just like you said, I mean, I guess you gotta advertise it 3 days internally, and then, how many days you gotta,
10.
10.
10?
It's
5,
5 days external.
yeah, so we need to get that rolling, so,
That's what we were
you
trying
know.
to do.
Tomorrow.
It'll be,
2 weeks.
you know, I don't know,
Our intent was to bring it back to you the next board meeting,
which is 19.
but you've got spring break coming in there, so it'll be interesting. But
Can we
is
not
what it
have a
is.
call meeting with that?
Do
We
we have
don't
one on
have
the
time
28th?
for a call meeting because of the timeline will take us up to that time.
To April?
We have a meeting, March 28th.
28th.
That was my intention to bring it to March 28th. It will probably be April 4th before you get it, rather than March 28th. I will do my darndest to get it
Do your
March
darndest.
28th.
Do your darndest.
But when you ask people to
Work
interview,
overtime.
you've got to give them ample notice. You
I
can't
understand.
say, I need to interview you tomorrow.
Yeah, you can. If they want a job, they'll come on.
No, I respect people a little bit more than that.
Next man in line.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Ms. Williamson. All those in favor of the change, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Billboard.
Okay, item number
6.1.
6.1, superintendent items.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I've got a few things. I really don't have that many. The first thing, just a FYI, the high school is doing a fundraiser, and their fundraiser is they will be requesting donation from businesses beginning March 7th through the prom to help relate the expenses of the prom. And so if you hear someone in town says the high school sending them letters for donation, that's what that's about. Back in January, you approved a trip for Boys to King to use our buses on February 8th, and they postponed that trip to March 19th. So I'm letting you know that that has already been pre-approved, and they're just changing the date. Is that sufficient?
Yeah, I think unless the board, anybody has any objection.
And that's a Saturday. Another thing, this is a day trip, and the kids are not going out of the county, but I think you need to know about the FFA Ag Day that they normally do. We postponed it the past couple of years because of COVID. FFA Ag Day for all elementary schools is scheduled for April 14th with Ms. Jenkins and her group. And the last thing that I need to talk about, and we need to come up with a date. We know the board has gone to an impasse with the union, and we need to have an official hearing, and we're down to a choice of 2 dates. March 31st, which is a Thursday, or either April the 7th, which is also a Thursday. And it will probably be at about 5 o'clock. These are the dates that has been agreed on between our negotiator and the union's negotiator. So that's March 31st or April 7th. And our attorney will need to be there also. So what's your pleasure?
I'm flexible.
I can go
one's
either
fine.
way.
Either one.
Probably the thing tonight is, does anybody know they have a conflict on either of those dates?
I don't.
I prefer April the 7th.
And then, and so if nobody's got a conflict, but we have one preference on April 7th, we can take that back to the union and see. But I've got to check my schedule. I just found out about it when I walked in the door here.
I just found out about this afternoon, okay? So I haven't been sitting on it. We've been begging the attorney to give us these dates, and he finally sent it to us this afternoon. So tentatively, we are suggesting April 7th.
And March 31st.
Ms. Rainette? At 5 o'clock PM. Is that one of those things that needs to be advertised by Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Yes.
You got that? Okay, Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Reeves, do you have anything?
No, sir. Unless you have questions.
No, sir, no questions. Ms. Williamson?
I just want to thank everybody for all their hard work and wish everybody a nice, relaxing spring break.
Okay, Mr. Carroll?
I had a big speech, but I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, give it.
But I do wanna thank Coach Coe and his family. He done a great job here with the team, with the kids, and you know, I wanna thank him and his family. I think she works at Lee, don't she?
Yes.
Amanda? So, and then Zach worked at the Central School, so, you know, I want to thank them, and I do want to, want us to, I don't really know, it's alarming to me that so many teachers resign and leave, and so, and we can't find none, and they leave, and it's alarming to me. We're gonna really have to think outside the box to be able to keep folks, I think, somehow or another. But anyway, that's all I got.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Ms. Gibson?
Yes, I just want to say that I'm satisfied that our sixth grade parents will now have a choice, another choice for sixth grade within the public school system. So up until now, they haven't had a choice. They just have had to go to where the only place where the sixth grade was offered. Now it's offered in 4 different elementary schools, and I think this is good for the one. A good fit for one will not be a good fit for others. So I'd like to again wish everyone a well-deserved spring break, and I wish the coach well in his new endeavor. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bell?
I want to thank Mr. Mike Coe and his family for their dedication to our district. I want all our staff and to please rest and enjoy your spring break.
Okay. I too would like to thank Coach Coe for his years of service here in the district. Would like to congratulate Ms. Sauls on her retirement from the Lee Elementary. I worked with Ms. Sauls back at the Madison Primary School and at Central back in the day, and appreciate all her years of dedication to the district. like to congratulate Ms. Phillips and her science fair students on their accomplishments. I'd like to wish everyone a great spring break, relaxing spring break. I'd like to thank Ms. Hill for her iReady results tonight. And I myself have an announcement. After serving on the Madison County School Board for the past 20 years, I have decided not to seek re-election. Both personal and professional reasons have guided my decision. It has indeed been an honor to serve the school district and the community for the past 20 years. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to serve with 5 superintendents and 10 board members. I have genuinely had a rewarding and professional learning experience. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity. Best wishes to all the students and colleagues in the district for continued success, good health, and happiness. Again, thank you for all you do for the children of Madison County, and always the best to each of you. And with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Motion was made by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Ms. Williamson. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.